duty this morning at this time will be to welcome our principal to start off the workshop and also introduce our guests. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome our principal.
Good morning again, ladies and gentlemen. I think we are running a little bit late, so I don't want to belabor many of the things. I will be very brief so that we can efficiently use the time that's available to us. This, as I said a little earlier, this is a very important day for us because it marks a very important partnership and collaboration that we're entering into with Malaysia Palm Oil Council. They have come all the way from South Africa to be able to be with us here. They have worked closely with a gentleman that may be well known to us, Chef Udia, and I know he's somewhere there. Yes, Chef. A gentleman that I think I've known him for very many years. So I'm also very pleased. It was a little bit surprising, but yes, I found that you have very important connections as well. So, mine is first of all to extend a very warm welcome to Malaysia, sorry, MPOC.
To send that, to warmly welcome them. They're represented here today by their regional director.
He told me to call him Rev, Tev. But the name itself is Teventaram Batumalai. He will come here later. Yeah. And then the other gentleman.
They said his name is easy. Oweyne Perumal. So I met them yesterday. This morning, I've also been privileged to meet the good lady, Arij Tofik. That's an Arabic name, eh? Yeah. Eh? So she will be really taking us through a lot of these things. So I only have two comments to make. One is that matters of cuisine have become very, very important globally. Indeed, for those of you who follow tourism very closely, one of the key drivers of tourism growth today worldwide is culture. And that is where you find food and cuisine coming in. And so, what we are seeing today is just a continuation of that very important driver. You can see the number of restaurants that are really coming up today. So culture is actually the top number one. Forget about wildlife and forget about beaches, although beaches occupy a significantly bigger proportion. But you see, if you look at culture, it is so wide. It's heritage. It is history, it is food, and so on. And these are areas that I can tell you confidently that even Kenya really is trying to push on the aspect of cuisine to be able to move forward. And so this partnership opens an avenue for us in terms of that particular area. I think the other point that I want to make very clear so that we share that is on the matter of all of us now are going to gym, we are running, we are walking, and so on and so forth. Wellness, health and wellness. It's also a very significant area. It's also one area that is growing very, very rapidly. And so I am keen, and I know because I have seen, I've never been to Malaysia, but I've been next to Malaysia. I was in Singapore some time back. So, and because of your position in tourism, I have followed. So I know a lot about Malaysia. Even I missed my trip there, even without having been there myself. So I know that we in this place we have other places we have gorillas and chimpanzees and so on, but they have their famous. Yeah, you have tiger and you have orangutan. That is the most famous one, eh? Yeah. So if you are asked that, is that a gorilla? No, it's an orangutan. Yeah. So if you are seeing 50% of that country is actually forested, the national parks and so on. So the things that we are getting there are really fresh. They're so mindful about health. And that is the point that I wanted to make clear. And I think what they're saying is that pure oil. Is that not it? Pure oil, because of issues of health. So I don't want to belabor this. It is just to, once again, thank you for coming and for this partnership. We look forward for it being very collaborative. We have ideas in terms of how we can collaborate, running shows, that can, with our students, with the younger people, with families and so on. So we're looking forward if we can actually move forward with this kind of arrangements. So it's my pleasure now to ask, Dev, you want to say something? Or we save time? Rev, come, please. Arij. Let's put our hands together for Arij. Thank you. Let me give you the mic.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fred. Thank you for the kind intro on Malaysian palm oil and the Malaysian landscape and what we do, how the industry works. Yes, indeed, I just want to echo what he said. We are at 50% forest coverage. So what you're getting from is sustainable Malaysian palm oil. Right, so I think we're going to change the screen now to my presentation. All right, here we go. So my task here is pretty simple. I'm just going to share with you, the diverse food applications of Malaysian palm oil. Since most of you are in HoReCa sector, you're chefs, you're in F&B, you're in restaurant. So you might want to know how it actually works. So without further ado, let's move on to the next slide. So my presentation is going to be in these three parts. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the role of fat in our daily life and in food, the uniqueness of palm oil, and also, of course, the food applications of palm oil. Right. So fat, now before I proceed with this, I just want to tell you guys that at the end of my presentation, there's going to be a quiz. So get your phones ready afterwards. I hope that you have some battery left. So you're going to scan a QR code and answer it on your phone. And you're going to win Naiva's voucher. And see now they're like laughing, and now I can see you guys responding. So you don't want to miss that, and you want to pay attention to everything I say and show. Okay, so we're gonna find 4 winners at the end of the day, all right? Okay, so let's start. So fat is made of triglycerides and is a source of energy, and some of its fatty acids provide essential building blocks for the cells in the body. So your body needs fat in order to function. It needs fat in order to create cells, because our cells, they die every day and they renew themselves. So it's a building block of life. And it also, another important thing to remember is that it helps to absorb these vitamins. Vitamins A, D, E, and K. So these are what you call fat-soluble vitamins. So if you don't have enough fat in your body, you may not be able to absorb these vitamins well. So as you know, vitamin A is important for the eyesight, D, for protection against the sunlight, and then E for the skin and the hair, and also very high in antioxidant properties, so it will help to combat all sort of diseases that you may get as you age. And then K would help you to, when you get some wounds, it would help to create the scab on the wound, so it helps your body to recover from wounds. So, but in terms of food applications, one is fat helps with the structure of the food product that you're making. So it helps with aeration and lightness, so it gives you the air pockets that the food would need. And it also helps with rheological properties. Now, rheology means fluidity of the texture that you're dealing with, the dough or whatever. And plasticity means the ability of the product to be spread. So in some applications, you would need good plasticity. So this is when palm oil comes in really handy. And of course, texture. When you eat ice cream, you get that nice texture. Even for chocolates, those are all attributed by fats, right? And of course, sensory characteristics. It helps with the taste, color, odor, crispiness when you fry, and the creaminess again in ice cream. And of course, melting of the chocolate as you eat it and it melts in the mouth. That's all attributed by fats. And then, so let's talk about the uniqueness of palm oil. So you may have seen this before. The oil, this is how the fruit bunch, we call it fresh fruit bunch, FFB, in the industry, right? So it looks like that bunch at the bottom right, like a banana bunch, right? So the bunch is made of all these mini fruits. We call them fruitlets. So when you cut every fruitlet into two, you get that thing at the top. So that's how the fruitlet looks like. The middle part, that white thing, is actually seed, or we call it kernel. And then the flesh around it is the flesh, and we call it mesocarp. So the oil comes from these two parts. So that's how awesome it is. Like, you can get oil from the seed and the flesh. So you basically get crude palm kernel oil from the seed and crude palm oil from the flesh. And then from the crude palm oil itself, you get the solid fraction, which is stearin, so a more solid type of oil. And then you get the liquid, which is olein, a more liquid type of oil. And then you can also minimally process the crude palm oil, and you get red palm oil. So it's red because it's minimally processed, so it retains most of the carotenoids, the one that gives the red color, which is rich in carotenoids. So carotenoids are what you call precursor to vitamin A. So if you consume it, it will be converted into vitamin A in the body, right? So, as the most efficient edible oil crop in the world, oil palm produces oil from, so it is the most efficient edible oil crop in the world, right? So it can produce 3 to 5 times more oil per hectare in tonnage compared to all the other edible oil crops. So that's why it's abundant, right? Because it produces high yield, very high, and you can also get so many types of oils from just one tree, one oil crop. Amazing. Right, so this is what I was explaining before, how the oil can be physically, not chemically, physically separated into the more liquid fraction and the more solid fraction. So you get so when the oil is more solid and when the oil is more liquid, they perform differently in the food products. So as you can see in the next slide, these are the things that they can do because of the fact that they have different types of consistency. So you got, as you can see, the more solid ones, you can use it to make, made stearin from margarine, and then the more oil, liquid ones is the one you use for frying, deep frying, right? And the other things you can see, you can even use the kernel to make palm kernel expeller or feed for your farm animals as feedstock. And then you can also extract some of the chemical compounds from the oil and make them into oleochemicals, which you can use in your skincare, household products, all these things. So it's very, very useful just from one tree. Right, so it has a balanced fatty acid content. This is why it is so versatile, because it's like 50-50% ratio of the more solid fat, which is saturated fat, and the liquid fat, which is unsaturated fat. So as you can see, in comparison to, the other types of oils, you can see as you go towards left, the oil is more solid. So as you can imagine, coconut, right? Coconut oil. And then when you go towards right, like sunflower, corn, they're more liquid. So the thing is, when you are more liquid or when you have higher level of unsaturated fat, you're not as stable as palm oil, because palm oil has a rather perfect balanced fatty acid ratio. So it's more stable than oils that have higher level of unsaturated fat. Right? So here's another thing that you might want to know about palm oil. It is trans fat free. Now, before that, because it's from a plant, it is virtually cholesterol free. Because cholesterol only comes from animal source. So other than that, it's trans fat free. So trans fat, there are two types. One is a natural occurring one from animals. So butter, milk, they have traces of trans fat. But what we want to be worried about is this one. Partially hydrogenated vegetable oils where they produce industrially produced trans fats. So they're not natural. They're what we call artificial trans fat. So what happens is, remember when I told you earlier that the oils on the right side are not stable, right? Because they're more unsaturated than the ones on the left. So in some applications, they would require that level of saturated, which they don't naturally have. So what happens is they will be partially hydrogenated. So in order for them to be more stable. So in order for them to mimic palm oil, they have to go through partial hydrogenation, which at the end of the day will produce the harmful artificial trans fat. Okay? So in recent, I think WHO has come out with some standards where the whole world now needs to eliminate artificial trans fat from food products. So that's why palm oil comes in really handy, because it has that level of stability that all these oils would need. So it doesn't need to go through partial hydrogenation because it's already stable. So that's the story. So another thing you might want to know about palm oil, it's rich in phytonutrients. So phyto means plant, nutrients. So you get all these naturally occurring phytonutrients like squalene, vitamin E, tocotrienols, like I mentioned before, vitamin E, tococarotenoids, which gives that red color, phytosterols, and coenzyme Q10. So these are the phytonutrients that you get naturally from palm oil. And vitamin E tocotrienols has been proven in research that it has such high level of antioxidant property. So which means that if you're sick, if you, let's say you contract some diseases, it will be able to help you to combat diseases. So this is what I mentioned earlier, red palm oil. It is refined using special method, and because of the red color, it's rich in carotenoids. In fact, its level of carotenoids is 15 times more than in carrots, and at least 50 times more than in tomatoes. So every time someone tells you, you gotta eat your tomatoes or carrots for the eyes, you tell them you eat your red palm oil, right? Because it's even higher than in carrots and tomatoes. So you just need 2 teaspoons of RPO for your daily vitamin A needs. And before I go, it's great for making salad dressing. Like you imagine the yellow one you use for frying. So this one you can use for salad dressing, like how you would use olive oil, for example. And then you can bake with this. You know, when you bake, let's say you want to make carrot cake, it would give you that nice orangey color. It's a fantastic. I use this a lot because it's so potent with carotenoids, so it's good. And I give it to my daughter as well. Right, so we're on to the other applications. Now, frying, I'm sure you know how frying works, right? So ideally, you want to heat the oil to between 175 to 190 degrees, so it's really high temperature, even up to 200 sometimes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the oils with higher level of unsaturated fat are not as stable, right? But palm oil is able to withstand this high temperature. That's what I mean by the stability. It's able to withstand these high frying temperatures, and you can use them for longer. In fact, in the industry, it is quite common. It's a quite common practice to reuse the oil, the batch of the oil, for up to 3 times. It's still safe, and you'll find that the smoke is not there because palm oil has high smoke point. So it wouldn't create smoke that fast as you fry or use it for any cooking. Yeah, so oil, basically, when you heat it up, it goes through degradation process, which means it loses its quality, okay? So there's this process called hydrolysis, oxidation, polymerization. These are the 3 degradation processes of oil. So palm oil is able to withstand these conditions. So like other oils that have higher level of unsaturated fat, they may not be able to withstand these processes as good as palm oil because of their natural fatty acid composition, as I showed you guys earlier. Yeah, so as I mentioned, it has high smoke point, so it's less susceptible to creating smoke. And then it has good resistance to thermal oxidation, less oil absorption, which means your food is not going to be as greasy as other oils, right? And when you fry chips, it's simple experiment. Just fry chips with palm oil and then fry it with another oil. You'll see the difference, right? And less tendency to foam. So polymerization, as I mentioned earlier, is a process where foam is visible. You know, when you fry for a few times, you see the foam forming at the top of the oil as you fry. So for palm oil, there's less tendency for that to happen. And it produces less volatile compounds. What does that mean? So when you fry, you'll notice that your backsplash or your hood becomes really sticky because there's sticky residue, right? So you're not really going to get that with palm oil. Okay? So there's less volatile compounds. And it's odorless. It's odorless and it doesn't give you flavor. So when you fry or when you cook, you want the flavors to come from the other ingredients, right? You don't really want the oil to give you some flavor or odor. So that's why this is a more preferred oil, especially in the HoReCa industry, because it doesn't give you odor or even flavor. Okay, so it doesn't mess with the flavors that you want. Right, so at the end of the day, just like the chicken, you get crispy texture, minimal absorbance, and satisfying flavor and aroma. So these are some of the Kenyan delicacies that you can fry with palm oil. And you can also bake with palm oil. Okay, so you can use it to make cake. In fact, as one of the derivative, like margarine, there's a specific ratio where you can use it to make croissant, for example. So you get really nice, that flaky texture because it does really well in layering, right? So you're gonna need layering when it comes to making croissant, and palm oil is great for that. Right? I think, yeah, so it's because of its semi-solid nature, and it gives you that good, it retains the gas well, and it's able to be spread well, good plasticity. So that's why it's really great for baking. Yeah, so just want to give you guys an idea how it compares to butter, for example. So butter, because it's from animals, it contains cholesterol, and it's much higher in saturated fatty acid. But for palm-based margarine or even shortening, right, it's cholesterol-free because it's from a plant, and it's trans fat-free, no traces of industrially produced trans fat, and it contains those natural phytonutrients that I mentioned earlier, and it's stable for you to use in your baking applications. And it's also great as an animal fat replacer. Now, this is still kind of new in a food industry, especially still in the research part. So a lot of scientists are now trying to see if it's compatible with like animal products. So like for example, chicken frankfurter, ground meat, let's say if you need to substitute the fat in these products, they found that you can use palm-based fats, right, in order to mimic the animal fats in these kind of products. So in fact, in meat analog products, which means like mock meat, they are like vegan meat, for example, you can use palm oil in order to mimic that texture from, real meat products. And of course, one of the wonders is that it is able to be used as a cocoa butter alternative. So there are a few types. As you can see, there's cocoa butter substitute, CBS, cocoa butter replacer, CBR, cocoa butter equivalent, CBE. So these are the terms that are commonly used in the chocolate industry in order for you to know if the product is compatible as an alternative to cocoa butter. As you know, cocoa butter is expensive, right? So this is important because, for example, the best derivative is CBE, which uses palm meat fraction, a type of derivative from palm, and it's fully compatible. So you can just use this instead of cocoa butter to make your chocolate, and you get the properties that you're gonna get typically from using cocoa butter. Right, so it can also be used as dairy fat replacers. So you can use it as creamer fats, you can use it to make ice cream, and so on and so forth. And another thing, which is not really that popular, but coconut milk, right? Typically, you would use it to cook, food that would typically call for coconut milk. Well, in Malaysia these days, the market for santan sawit, which is another name for coconut milk in Malaysia, santan, the market for the palm-derived santan is booming currently in Malaysia because food sellers and even the industry, they find that it can give you the attributes that you would get from using coconut milk. And in fact, the shelf life is longer. You guys know what shelf life is, right? Yeah, so the shelf life is longer than for coconut milk, and it contains those naturally occurring phytonutrients, which the coconut milk also has, by the way, but it's also more affordable. So you see, because it has longer shelf life, you don't need to you need to buy that many, because it has, yeah. And so these are the kind of local dishes that you can substitute coconut milk. You can use santan sawit instead of coconut milk. So last but not least, this is still not commercial yet, but there is a water-soluble component called oil palm phenolics, OPP in short. So they are gained from the aqueous or water-based process during, the refining and, process in the palm oil industry. So they have found recent research has shown that it contains, I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce that acid, but it contains that. It potentially has cardioprotective effects, so protects the heart. Anti-inflammatory property, protective roles against free radical damage, and potential benefit medical properties such as anti-tumor and neuroprotective effect. So you can see that from one edible oil crop, you can get so many things, and you can do so many things from it, right? So it is naturally semi-solid, which is solid fraction is naturally hard. It does not require partial hydrogenation, Valuable feedstock for many fat formulations, good oxidative and thermal stability, alternative to replace dairy and animal fat, which is important because our global population is growing. So we're going to need more food to create all these food products for everybody around the world. So it's great to know that palm oil is able to mimic dairy and animal fat. So it would give you, it would ensure the continuous supply of food products. Available worldwide all year round. It's not seasonal. You plant the tree once and it's going to be there for 25 years or so. And it has competitive price and it's a cost-effective solution. Right, so that would be the end of my presentation. If you have If you want to contact me, you have further questions, you can always email me. But we're also opening the floor, right, for some Q&A, I think for a few minutes, and then we're going to get to the quiz. So, yeah. Are your phones ready? Because you want your Naivas voucher, right? Okay, so just full screen. All right. So just scan the code in front, but if you can't, just go to slido.com, and then it will ask you what is the hashtag of the quiz, and you put in Palm Quiz, okay? PALMQUIZ. Otherwise, please scan the code in front. So while you guys enter, I'm going to read you what the prizes are, just to keep you motivated. So the first place is going to get around 25,000 Naivas voucher worth. And then second place is going to get around 19,000. Third place is going to get around 12,000. And fourth place, not too bad, 6,000. Okay? See, now you're all worked up, pumped up for this. So I hope you paid attention. All good? Anybody has any issues registering? Awesome. All right. And 1 and 2. Oh, 38.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, 39. One more, just to make it nice. Okay. All right, here we go. First question. You have 15 seconds. Please refer to the screen of your mobile devices, respectively. Which is the most edible, efficient oil crop in the world? Now, this is easy, guys. Come on. I was harping this all along. And... Oh, okay. Most of you got it correct.
Okay, who's this?
Someone said sunflower. Come on. Yeah, okay. So, now it goes, if you answer fast, it gives you points as well, okay? Abigail. What is the scientific name of oil palm? I think this is a bonus question, like, if you did some research before, probably know.
I don't say. I'm not saying.
Oh, too bad. Okay. It's okay. We have 8 more questions. Wow. These people got them correct. Congrats. Right, a great alternative to coconut milk. Palm-based santan is a type of creamer produced from palm oil. Below are true, except. Okay, read the question properly. It says below are true, except. So made through fermentation process, contains vitamin A tocotrienols, lower fat content, longer shelf life. You guys are good. Right, so it is not made through fermentation process. That is not true. Wow. Geoffrey Matthews, right. Which are the 2 major palm oil producing countries? What is the other country?
Don't say it loud.
Don't say it loud. Don't give away answers. 3, 2, 1. Who answered China? Okay, good job. Geoffrey is killing it. He's gotten all answers correct so far. All right, what is the fatty acid composition of palm oil? Another easy question if you paid attention. Is it 40-60? Is it 55-45 or 50-50 or 60-40% of saturated, unsaturated fatty acid? Ooh. And the answer is yes. At least more than half of you guys answered this. That's good. Oh, Geoffrey, what happened? So we have Gertrude at the top. Well, next question. Which of the following processes form artificial trans fat? So if you paid attention, you would know what I said earlier. And nanti dorang nampak pula. And takut dorang nampak. And the answer is partial hydrogenation. Who said pasteurization? I did not say pasteurization at all. Oh, Mary. Oh, okay. Which of the following are the health benefits of palm oil? Is it cholesterol free? Is it trans fat free? Or all of the above? I don't know. And the answer is all of the above. It's a trick question. Gladys has taken the throne. Which of the statements is not true regarding the application of palm oil? Take your time to read. Palm stearin is suitable for making margarine and shortening. Palm oil is excellent for frying oil. Palm oil is not suitable for substituting dairy fat, or palm meat fraction can be used as cocoa substitute. Now the question says not true. And the answer is at least half of you guys got it right. Yeah, that's good. Good job, everybody. Whoo. Gladys again. All right. We're at the 9th question, second last question, yeah? All of these are phytonutrients found in palm oil except, so which of these, coenzyme Q10, caffeine, squalene, or provitamin A carotenoids are not found in palm oil? And the correct answer is caffeine. Come on. Right. And the leaderboard. Ooh, Gladys. All right, guys. This is the last question. Below are true for red palm oil, except, okay, contains 15 times less carotenoids than carrot, or contains squalene and coenzyme Q10, or 2 teaspoons of red palm oil are sufficient to meet daily requirement, or obtained from crude palm oil that undergoes special refining method. Which of these are not true for red palm oil? And the answer is, yeah. So only 38% of you guys remember that it contains 15 times more carotenoids than in carrot. Okay? Congratulations, Gladys. Who's Gladys? Who's Gladys? Stand up, stand up. Woo! Congrats. Can we just, okay, Geoffrey is at number 2, not too bad. Number 3 is at Natasha, and Mary is at number 4. Yeah, just take. All right, thank you so much. I think that will be the end of the quiz. I will give the prizes at the end of the event today. So you guys have to be here to claim your prize. Okay, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, we have gone through that session. We want to go to the next session. But before we go to the next session, today we have some other very important people who I wanted to introduce to you before we take a short break. Please, before I do that, I think Madam Tofik deserves a better clap than the one that she got. A clap for Madam Tofik for the nice presentation. Thank you. Now, before we go to the next session, please allow me to introduce some very important people that are going to be with us. I am looking for them, but I'm missing one of them. I don't know where they are. I will introduce the ones that are here. The other ones, you'll get to know them later on. Please put your hand together when I introduce to you Chef Orido. We also have Chef Ouko, Robert. I am missing two chefs. Ruby, I think, is out. He's going to be the lead judge for today. There you are. There is Chef Rubia. Please stand up. I think he's going to be the one in charge of the whole competition. So they are interesting people, and you can get a few hints from them as we go along. I think later on we'll have a demonstration from Chef Rubia as the day continues. Thank you and have a good day. The fourth run-up was Madam Mary Mudhure. Third place was Nasteha Mohammed. Second run-up was Jeffrey Matthews. And the winner of the MPOC Palm Pop Quiz is none other than Gladys Wangoi.